Solving one-step inequalities. You're going to graph these inequalities, but they're not quite ready. You first have to do one step in order to get them ready. Solving these is the same way that you solve an equation. You will ultimately get the x all by itself on one side and the constant or the number all by itself on the other side. Number 1, you notice that along with the x, you have a positive 8 on that side. In order to get x by itself, you do the opposite. So the opposite of positive 8 is negative 8. And of course, with algebra, what you do on one side, you have to do the same thing on the other. So when you take away 8 from the first side, you end up with x. When you take away 8 from the second side, you end up with 10. You put your symbol in the middle, greater than or equal to, and your final answer is x is greater than or equal to 10. Now it's ready to graph. On to number 2. Notice you have, along with the x, you have a negative 1. To get rid of the negative 1, we'll add a positive 1 to both sides. That gives us x is greater than 7. Here's an easy graph. Now for number 3, notice that you have the x already by itself. So you don't have to do anything special. On the other side, you've got a negative 8 and a positive 9, so you'll just simplify that. X is greater than or equal to 1. Notice number 4 isn't completely on the screen. I feel like you get this enough that you can handle it. So we've got a negative 1 with the x, so we add 1 to both sides, and that gives us x is less than or equal to 4. And you can go ahead and graph that since it could be equal to. You do fill in the number with a whole dot. On to number 7. Before you're on your own, I want to go over this last one. It's just as simple as the ones you've done before, but since it's in a slightly different order, you might not recognize it. On the left, you have a negative 18 along with your variable of n. Now you want to get n by itself, and to get rid of the negative 18, you add 18 to both sides, just as you would on any other problem, and that's how you get your answer. Don't be confused if you have the number before you have the variable. It works the same way if it had been n minus 18 or if it was negative 18 plus n. It's the same either way. You have a negative 18 and you do the opposite to get rid of it. So plus 18 to both sides.